Welcome to a new episode of Two Whatever's Way Up. I am your host today, Seth from the Film Rescue Show. I'm your Pitchmaster General. We have the horror whore with us here from Mind Brain Movies. Hope, hello.
Hello.
Did you watch Sub or Dub?
Both.
Wow, look at this overachiever over here. Okay, hell yeah. We also have our professional cynic from Split the Difference, Jesse Fresco's here. What's up, Jesse? Sub or
Hello.
Dub, which did you watch?
I watched dub because I was watching this while I was exhausted and I didn't have time to do the sub version.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
I
And Michael
literally
Keaton.
just woke up from a nap.
Carrie Elwes, Michael Keaton, Nuff said.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
one thing I will. So, Seth, you and I both are anime heads, and I know both of us are like sub all the way. However, there's like 3 anime series exceptions, and then Studio Ghibli movies are the exceptions as well, I feel. Because they bust their ass getting good voice actors.
Listen, Robert Pattinson threw his whole Batussy into doing the Heron. They always swing for the fences on these movies. And like Michael Keaton doing Understated here. Oh, let me announce the movie, by the way.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
talking about Porco Rosso, directed by Hayao Miyazaki. This is... we've made this distinction on other movies and other series before. I always like to bring up the best in a director's filmography versus my favorite, and the two of them are not usually the same. This is my favorite of the Ghibli films.
Same.
Reasons being is it is impossible to watch this movie and look out over the coast of Italy being drawn by the foremost animator ever. By the way,
Mhm.
just the most beautiful island set. The opening shot is like so I love this movie. It is all vibes. I will attest. This is like the least plot of any Ghibli film. This is probably the least character development of any Ghibli film. Doesn't matter. This is all vibes. It is my favorite. Thank you guys for watching it for me.
I noticed that when I was watching.
This
I
is
was like,
my pick, Seth.
yeah, I noticed that when I was watching. I was like, where's the plot start? Oh, there isn't one. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Fascist pirates being goofy. I mean,
It-
you're just here to vibe.
Yeah, clearly a response to what was happening in the 1920s with the rise of fascism in Italy, the rise of Mussolini and such. It's clearly what it was. Yeah, it's inspired by that.
We'll get into how he spent a lot of his childhood there, as his father was a aircraft engineer, and that's a big, huge thumbprint in the middle of this movie. Is like, this is an ode to the travel that he got to do as a kid, and kids are important to the plot.
And The Wind Rises too.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
always and not like all of his movies have a nod to planes, and that's why.
I love it. Well, I've just found out before we started recording, this was Jesse's first watch.
Yep.
Hope has words for you, I think.
Yeah, okay. I'd never seen this. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think? What was your impression?
Oh, I loved it. Oh, it was great. It was wonderful. It was adorable. It was cute. It reminded me of a book I was working on years and years ago, and I never finished. Yeah, it was very cute. I liked it.
What are the similarities with the book you were writing?
Freelance pilot has to take care of his own ship and all that stuff. Mine was based in space. This is based on Earth. So,
okay.
yeah, it's basically I was applying my own freelance life and how I do my job as a pilot. It's like, what if it was a starfighter doing this on their own, like having to like. There's one part in the story where he gets sent on assignment to protect this transport off in a distant part of the galaxy, and the company he's working for didn't send the right type of ammunition. So
wow.
So he only has 2 drums. So he has to pick off his shots left and right, and he runs out and he's like, well, I'm done. So he just gets back to the ship and just kind of like sits in his bunk like, well, I don't know what to do and I'm not going to destroy my ship. So you guys are on your own.
Wow. I could see Porco Rosso in space. I think just for the kind of absurdity
There was plans
of the
for
character.
a sequel. There's plans for a sequel
Really?
to this. It never
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, it never happened.
Because he just
Wow.
loved the characters and the plot and everything. It just never happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just other projects.
Damn.
I got vibes of like the Red Baron, that kind of story, like this
Mhm.
mysterious pilot that just shows up out of nowhere, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see lots of inspiration into, like, Cowboy Bebop, also taking stories
Oh
like this and
god,
running to
yeah,
space with it.
absolutely. A
Yeah, yeah,
little bit
yeah.
of
Just
Firefly, maybe, which is clearly
mm.
inspired by Cowboy Bebop.
We all just kinda wanna be rogues out in the wilderness with a machine under our feet to keep us going. It's a
Mhm.
universal kinda thing. Well, Hope, you're the anime head. Dive in. What do you love about this movie? That's the whole point of the show.
Yeah, I love how you were like, "Thanks for watching it for me," and I'm like, "This is definitely my pick," but
Yeah.
This was my pick.
no,
No,
this was my
this
We
was
pick.
just did
hers.
Fantastic Planet. This was my pick. I put the Miyazaki on.
No, because I did all 3 of my animation movies.
I also did an animation run this
It was
time. Yeah.
parallel thinking. You both did it at the same time.
Listen, I mean, we're here
No,
to
what here's the thing,
celebrate the
Seth.
movie.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing, Seth. That just means how good it is.
Yeah. No,
That just
yeah,
means how
like
good it is. Like, the fact that we're both, like, the fact that we're fighting for our love for this, that's pretty much what it is.
we can't measure who loves it more. This is impossible.
Let's just group hug it out. This is all
Right.
Porco.
No, like I can't even be mad. Like anytime somebody tells me their favorite Ghibli film, I'm just like, you're right. There's no
Mm.
wrong. I'm just correct.
Right.
Nice. Good choice.
Um, but yeah, so I love this. I grew up, my grandfather was a pilot in World War II
Whoa.
for the Air Force. He was the pilot for like Air Force One. He was in the military for like his entire life. He had his own plane that after he retired that he taught me how to fly with it.
Whoa.
He had a little Cessna. Um and so I've literally grown up around planes my entire life because that was his life. And he's like, well, you're mine now, kid, and took me under
Right.
his wing, literally. Um, so I've always been attracted to planes and flying and all this stuff. So when I saw the Miyazaki film, I was like, this is mine.
Mm.
Like, this is all mine. Um, but not only that, it's just like you said, it's total vibes. Just I love the characters. Oh, I just also love um Miyazaki's always had a very strong passion for forefronting strong women, and I like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. The
Their whole
fact,
characters. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, like the fact that Fio is the head engineer and architect for this plane, the fact that the women of Piccolo's family were like crafting and constructing this plane. Just even the little old grandma, the nonnas, like they were like constructing this plane. And it was just, I love it so much. It's
And
so
that's
good.
like accurate to the time too, right? There are whole campaigns based around like getting women and kids
Hmm.
into working in factories to help
Yes.
support the war efforts. And that's like if he's a kid in Italy seeing this happen, it like he's just reporting on his life. I love that.
Yeah, it's just so good. I That's also kind of why I was shocked because that Jesse had never seen this before, because I know he's not into anime as much as like you and I, but I know he's seen some Studio Ghibli films, and I was like, this is literally right up his alley of all of the films.
Mm.
So I was like kind of shocked that
Mhm.
this is the one you hadn't seen.
'Cause I hadn't seen it. Just
I think it's his most accessible. I mean, like the only thing you have to
oh,
get over
yeah.
is like the
Yeah.
main character's a pig, and like we're gonna make little jokes about that. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's as far as it goes into the magic in this world. I like even
It's
compared to
it's
like
not it's not, Spirited Away. It's not
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
little more inaccessible. This
Mhm.
is, like, fairly straightforward, based kind of in our reality with the exception of him being a pig.
And
That's about it. So
yeah. Yeah, and like I love the way it adds to his character too. Just like
Mhm.
it separates him just a little bit from
yeah.
everybody
It's
else.
also it's also a lot sillier than, a lot more, like, lighthearted than something like
Lighthearted, yeah.
yeah, like Boy and the Heron, much darker movie.
Woo!
This is, much like, the end when, they finish their dogfight and they run out of ammunition and just chucking shit at each other across, like they're just, like, they're out of ammo, and they settle their fight in just a boxing match in the
Mhm.
shallows of a beach, like and it's just this
That's great.
it's the dumbest fight. ever. It's just
Like the stakes are high in that like old way where it's like, oh, we have to save kids, you know what I mean? It's not, the stakes aren't high for like personal gain or anything like
Yeah.
that.
mm.
I mean, that's how the movie starts, is Porco goes and saves these kids who literally do not give a fuck at the
Oh, they
beginning.
think they're on like a tour run. They're in
They think it's part of
Disneyland.
it. They think they're
Yeah.
yeah, they think that it's part of the ride that they're on.
It's like, oh, it's fine, we can swim. We're in the swim club, and they're like, "What? Get back here, kids! You're gonna drown." They're like, "We're fine," and I'm like, "These are pirates. What the fuck?"
Listen, the Pirates of the Caribbean at Disney could take a cue from this. This is the way
Yes.
I want to experience piracy.
If this is how they
Otto
open up
will
the new
see
Pirates
played
movie,
pirates.
yeah. If this is how they open up the new Pirates movie, perfect. You nailed it.
Damn.
Whenever
Right.
they get that off the ground. God.
Uh,
So we've I guess I'll watch done like a recent watch. Hope you did a dub and a sub watch.
mhm.
Did you notice doing them back to back like that? What were like the little things that stuck out to you? There were a couple lines I think that I watched dub on this run. I've only ever seen this in Japanese, so I wanted to get a dub watch in before we
Mhm.
did this. And so I was kind of surprised at like it's even more lighthearted feeling to me in English. I was wondering if
Yes.
you noticed that or what else stood out to you.
I mean, a little bit, because um with Japanese voice acting, they're very, unless it's a pure like comedic anime, they're very kind of like tonally focused.
Mm,
Whereas you have someone like, for instance, oh my god, what is the character's name? And Mr. Curtis.
mm.
He's voiced by Carrie Elwes. Carrie Elwes just came off Princess Bride, and you're having him voice act in this. Like, so obviously he's gonna pull like kind of the snarky, sarcastic, like jokey tones, you know.
Right.
Um, and then Michael Keaton, he was he honestly did like a mixture of his Batman and Beetlejuice in this.
Oh yeah. Like what wasn't this like right after Batman Returns? Wasn't this like right after
Like,
Yeah.
that?
I think this is literally a combo of him doing Batman and Beetlejuice. Like, that's how
And
he
this is the
played
kind of thing
Porco.
you want to do right after a Batman movie, right? Just go relax, do a Miyazaki
Mhm.
dub, just, go into the office and spit your lines into a mic and have fun.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing though that I always poke fun of, at least with the dub version. So when Gina is singing, she's singing like an Italian song in France while speaking English for a Japanese movie.
Right.
And so there's like five
Welcome to
different
spaghetti westerns.
Oh god.
so I've always like made fun of, like poked fun of the dub for that. Like, there's literally like 10 different languages going on in that one scene. But I mean,
Localization, what? Like
yeah.
that's a rough team to
Yeah.
to have to put together to localize. I love that.
Now
Mhm.
try translating it into German. See what
Oof.
happens. God.
No,
Yikes.
You ever seen
no.
that you ever seen that video somebody made of they did Smash Mouth Rockstar, but they ran it through all the different filters of languages, and every time you translate it kind of distorts the language, so it eventually gets down to just they would translate it to one language back to English and then another language then back to English. By the time you got to the last one, it wasn't even the same
It's
song anymore.
incomprehensible.
It's
Yeah.
incomprehensible. Just garbled gobbledygook. It was nothing. I think I can find that video. I'll try to find it.
Yeah.
God.
No, I just think of the videos where it's like they'll be like, this word is in English, and then because a lot of our European, like Eastern European languages, or yeah, or Western, I should say Western European, not Eastern European,
Yeah.
are Latin based. So like your Italian, your French, your Spain, your Spaniard, your English, all that. There's some like base roots, and then it like goes to German, and they're like, oh God, what now, Germany? What are you doing?
Right.
It'll be like like there's one where it was like hospital, and it was like hospital, and then Germany was like blah, 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 blah. Like,
I love the
Krankenwagen.
I love the fact that the opening crawl is like just one long stretch, and then the last two of the harder languages, like it has to extend just a little bit. It's
that
just a little too long.
that I did want to bring up your opinions on the opening because it's literally like 20 different languages and it's just like how
Mhm.
did you guys feel that they did in so many languages like that?
I love the, like, appeal to internationality within this
Yeah.
movie, like, this is I think the other side of this coin looks like World War II documentaries that are fair to all sides, where, like, they really investigate, like, deeply into the histories of the different armies that were involved in this. I think this is the other side where it's like, okay, now there was actually something about bringing together all these nationalities in a world war that can result in a really, really cute tale from this
Yeah.
time, and that's, like, Miyazaki's lensing as an artist is to take huge world shit. Like, look at Howl's Moving Castle and how it's like very directly talking about George W. Bush and the Iraq War, right? Like he's lensing this giant thing and then
Mm,
takes it down into, okay, but now it's just about this person. And
right.
this is I feel like doing this the World War II other side of that coin.
Mhm. Yeah, it makes it accessible to everybody by that point. It's
Mm,
like I said, with other films he's done, it's harder to because they are about bigger ideas. Like this isn't really about big ideas. Like there's the element of the fascist regime, the rise to power with Mussolini that's in there, but it's not. Like by the end of the story, he's not becoming a revolutionary. He's not trying to take down the governments. He's
mm,
not trying to stop it. He's uninterested. Like this movie is uninterested in being political. It's there because it's the setting, but
Yeah.
it's not the focus of the story.
yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want it. This is a lighthearted adventure as opposed to complicated analysis of the Iraq War. It's not about that. It's not the point.
I want to step away from politics and I want to go back to something Seth said earlier. I want to go back to, can we just like worship the drawing and animation of this?
Oh
Oh,
God.
so
Like
good.
when he was talking about how like the opening of like the background and everything, I was just like, yeah, I know. I was drooling over the same scenery as well. Like so
I I I had forgot that was my phone background, an extended like portrait version of that shot.
yeah.
Instead of it like fanning down, it's like, what if that was all one portrait shot? That was my phone background for years, and I forgot it was the opening fucking shot of the movie.
Mm,
I was like, that's right, Porco Rosso lives down inside of a little cavern in an
Yep.
island. My current background is Boy and the Heron.
mhm.
When on this side it's the heron, and when I unlock it, it's the boy on the inside, although it's kind of blurry. But I always got a Miyazaki background. His art's too good, y'all. It makes the perfect phone backgrounds.
Yeah, Jesse, like again, like you're coming in fresh. Like Seth and I are we're the old fanatics in the background. We're trying to induct you into this cult of
Mhm.
Miyazaki. So what did you
Yeah.
think about like the animation?
Oh, it looks great. It's smooth. It's clean. It's slick. It's energetic. It's
Yeah,
because I've seen some bad anime over the years where they just use the same animation over and over again. It's just like the flapping of the mouth, and it's like it's just
yeah.
clearly the same 3 frames recycled for like maybe 10 seconds because they need to fill the space of the dialogue. And
Looking at
so
you, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
Pokemon was guilty of that for a bit. So there's some of that. So there's some bad animation in those early seasons. So yeah, it's nice to see solid high quality animation where it feels like there's a lot of love and attention and care put into
Mhm.
Mhm.
it. It feels like
Oh yeah.
there's a genuine attention to detail in this. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they ever recycle animation or recycle frames in this one. I
No.
think yeah, you can tell they put in the effort. They always put in the effort on these. Yeah.
Mhm. Uh
Where do you think it ranks visually? If that's the only standard among Miyazaki films, where do you guys feel like it ranks visually?
oof. That's so hard because I
Spirited Away
know
is so good though.
that's what I'm
That's
saying. I feel like
easy number one. Yeah.
he tries to up himself every movie visually
Yeah.
because but it's in different ways. Like I could say Ponyo is gorgeous.
Oh my god, there are
Mm.
some insane
Like
shots.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. There, like it might not be the whole thing because Ponyo, there's so many very simplified drawings, but that's because he's appealing to kids. I mean, it's a rated
yeah,
G movie, not even PG. It was rated G. So like he simplified a lot of the drawings and made it like more kawaii and everything. So it but it was still stunning.
yeah,
Uh
yeah,
so it I feel like it's so hard to compare because then you have like his old school like Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind. That was like one of his first,
mm,
and that was also gorgeous because it was more he took a more realistic stylized approach to that one, especially when developing the ohms. He took a very realistic it's just it's so hard to rank stylistically his movies because he does try, like, obviously there's the Ghibli signature all over all of them, but
yeah, yeah.
he does do a little bit stylization throughout.
The greens, whites, and blues. That's the combo that I look for in like every film of his. There's going to be at some point a shot with like vivid green, vivid blue, and vivid white, just kind of perfectly mixed together.
Well, because he wants to show off the beauty of the world. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
just. It's the opposite of a film that, even though I like this movie, it's the opposite of a film like Mad God, where it's like, look at the filth of the world.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the complete dead opposite.
The anti Miyazaki. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I made every frame with my fucking hands, and they're all filthy with shit.
Although it's funny, I love the biggest comparison people always do is how Miyazaki and Junji Ito.
Oh yeah.
I think we've
Miyazaki
discussed
makes
this.
he makes the most pleasant images, and then as a person, he's like, "The world is cruel, and I hate it." And then Junji Ito makes the scariest fucking shit you'll ever see in your life, and like cut back to him, and he's just looking at a butterfly, you know.
And he has like Hello Kitty ears on. He's like, "Hi."
The dark scares me. I figured out what's in the dark, though. That's Junji Ito.
Oh
My
gosh.
favorite interview of Junji Ito's is when he was at last year's San Diego Comic Con, and they were like, "All right, Junji, we're gonna list off a bunch of things and tell us if you're scared or not." He's like, "Okay," and they're like, "Clowns, yes. The dark, yes. Heights, yes. Pigeons, yes." They just like, and meanwhile he's like drawing the creepiest fucking thing you've ever seen, like just
Right.
casually drawing it. I'm like, I love this man so much. He must be protected at all costs.
I want him and Hideo Kojima to link. We
Ah.
need that.
Ugh.
Could have been that Silent Hill game that we never quite got.
Ah. Ah.
Fuck you, Konami, you pricks.
But going back to the animation, I want to know, like, what are some of your guys' favorite, like, one or two top scenes of the movie?
Great question.
I'm
I
going
want to
first.
know if there's. I
Go,
want to know
go,
if
go,
they're
yeah.
the same as mine, or I want to know if they're the same as mine or not.
This is just like a little thing. When he's flying the plane for the first time, when he's gets the new plane, he's supposed to fly, but he doesn't know how to fly it, so he's got the Fio. He didn't want Fio there in the first place, and then realizes, oh right, if I didn't have her here, I would have crashed the plane.
Yeah.
So there's that one. Second one, definitely when he's taking down the Sky Pirates in the very opening. It's he's just too cool for school. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for them to get tired and run out of the ammunition. I'm just gonna wait. It's
Right.
like, they're just terrible shots.
Like, I'll let you keep some of the money for your repairs. I don't want to keep you guys completely out of business because that means I'm out of business.
Yeah.
I love the opening reverse because like all those people down on the deck make like an arrow to point him in the right
Oh
direction.
yeah.
And he's like, nah, not doing that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the opening of Baby Driver where John Bernthal points forward and they kick it right into reverse. It's just like not going the way you thought.
No. God.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes are perfect. I think like
If a movie's trying to grab you, that's a great way to grab you.
Oh yeah.
that is the inn. It is Indiana Jones in the most beautiful setting in the world, and
I even
like
said this movie reminded me of Indiana Jones. I
He did.
literally said it reminded me of Indiana Jones.
He texted me last night and he's like, "I'm feeling Indiana Jones here."
the pirates are even like especially in the dub, they're cute. That like the one pirate's like, do we have to take all 15 kids? And the other guy's like, yeah, it's unfair to separate them. And it's like, you know what? You're absolutely right. That would be dickish to make a couple of these kids stay behind.
It did make me laugh that every single pirate looks like Dr. Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog, so that was kind
Right.
of funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There is one villain look, and it is don't look in their eyes because they might be humanized.
Right.
Yeah. First 10. And honestly, like my recent watch, I had forgotten how fucking smug and charming Keaton is in all of his little bits. Whenever he's not being a badass pilot, he's on the ground like navigating a world that doesn't like looking at him, right? And he's
Right.
Yeah.
very aware of this, and it reflects so well in his character because he's so. This is what Marvel movies think their bits sound like. They think they are
Yeah.
like this clever. They think this is earned, right? This is like through the whole movie, this is
Mhm.
part of it, instead of it just being like, oh, this would be the coolest thing to say in this moment. It's like,
Right.
no, he's got to earn these cool moments, and it's like at the cost of his character.
Mm-hmm. Just
What?
like even his
Yeah.
bits were like, yeah, all middle-aged men are pigs, Theo. Learn it, you know?
Yeah. He's just reflecting the world honestly.
Yeah.
What about you, Hope? Like, what is your standout animation? Like, when you're revisiting this, what is the scene that's like, I cannot get up and go pee. I must stay for this scene.
I have two scenes.
Hell yeah.
One is when they're testing out his engine for the new plane. Because the animation to hand draw all the shingles on the shed just like flapping
Yep.
from the power, and then also to see like the wind taking effect on the characters, like so just the
They're getting hit with a
animation.
leaf blower in the face.
Right.
Right. So I love that, and and the thing is, I also just love Piccolo because he's like, I think it's bad for your shed. We're not even at top speed yet. You think this is bad? I'm gonna destroy this fucker. Like,
That whole sequence of the movie also reminded me of Godzilla -1 and getting ready for the
Oh yeah, the
Godzilla
new
attack at
plane.
the end.
Yeah, the new plane.
Yeah. Just very, very like similar ideas there.
and then so I love that, like for the little comedic bits of them going back and forward, and again, just the animation just showing that wind. Um, and then I would have to say, um, my second one is towards the end when it's that pure white sky
Oh
and he's
yeah.
coming up and he's seeing the planes from his like previous dog fights and like all this stuff, and it's just like so, like you said before, you look for the whites and the gray. Like whenever I see that pure white come over, it's like quiet and serene, and I just sit there and I'm just in awe, like,
Yeah.
and because it's just I can't even describe it. It's just so good. Like just watch it. Just watch that scene.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me when especially animators and comic artists play around with the page itself. Like you're bringing up, how do you get a pure white animation
Yeah.
frame? Like it's just you put nothing on it, right?
Yeah.
That I love the boldness to say like to like show the tactile nature of making each frame itself onto paper and making the
Mhm.
paper part of that. And you can see the opposite of that. Jesse just sent me a couple Sin City comics, and I've been reading through those. And there's in one of them,
Oh, they
entire-
arrived. Nice to say that they arrived.
yeah, they just got here today.
Nice.
I found there's a panel that is all black. Think about the choice to ink every inch of the page in your story about the filth of humanity and the scum of the streets, right? Like
Mhm.
like that's Sin City doing the exact same here. That same thing stylistically that
Mhm.
Hope's pointing out with this, white frame, whereas Miyazaki's showing, look at the purity of the world when you get
Yeah.
up above it all, and the freedom that comes with being able to fly. Yeah, what a killer scene to pick.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are my two go-tos for sure. Like,
Yeah.
but then again, like both of you're talking about your scenes, and I'm like, I love those too.
Yeah,
Like,
It's hard to find a bad scene in any Miyazaki movie. It's like,
yeah.
name one bad scene. Yeah, the list is real small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Something else I wanted to point out. I had just watched Whispers of the Heart recently.
oh,
Um, part one of what I like to bring up is, if y'all have ever seen Lo-Fi Anime Girl on YouTube, that station where like you can click on it, just plays like lo-fi beats for you to study to.
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know what you're
yeah.
talking
that's
Uh,
it.
that's from a Miyazaki. Like, that is straight out of Whispers of the Heart. That's like that exact. I'm talking the frame. The frame itself is exact, and it within that movie. The part I wanted to bring up is the little boy in the film is about to leave Japan to go live in Italy
Mhm.
and study, and I just, Italy is so important to Miyazaki. Like, you can really tell that was a really influential trip or series of trips or whatever it ended up being. And then I think in Boy and the Heron, isn't he like coming back from a trip to Italy? Am I misremembering that? Italy's just
He
super
loves
important.
Italy.
it's a beautiful country that has a very, very messy tempered history to it. That's probably the
That
best way to
feels
put
like
it.
every country, and
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's
honestly.
true. You know,
we're dealing with our own fascism problem here in America right now.
it's great.
Thankfully, the conservatives aren't brave enough to become pirates.
Not yet. Hmm.
Jesus Christ!
But if they do, let them be the seaplane pirates.
If they're gonna be fun and goofy, okay,
Yeah.
I'll.
Yeah. Some of them are pretty goofy.
True, absolutely true.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just also love how at the end they're like, "Oh, Miss Fio, thank you so much for showing us our honor." She's like, "Keep up with the bathing."
I noted this to Hope when I watched this. I did note that the one thing that does creep me out a little bit is that Fio's 17, and that's a little that she's trying to get married off at one point into Carrie Elway's character. I'm like, it's a little. I know it's 92. I'm willing to let a little bit slide. They had that same problem in the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm willing to let a little slide, but still looking at it now, it's like, oh, that didn't age well.
Yeah, we've thankfully as a society kind of aged up what that commitment long term
Yeah.
looks like.
And I
But
understand it's set in the 1920s. I get it. That was
Yeah.
normal back then. But
it
now
was,
it's
yeah.
like,
I mean,
ugh.
that's the only saving grace is the fact back then, because you have to think like
I mean,
there.
like people that were 13 would get married, mainly for business reasons or
Well, not
maintain
even just
family
that, but
lines.
they're just like, "Yo, there's a war going on. Pump out babies in case the
Yeah.
war keeps going on."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you can bleed, you can breed.
Yeah,
Uh,
small families are a new invention. That is a very new invention.
Yeah.
Um
Speaking of which, I'm playing my Fallout Shelter game on my phone, and I'm totally impregnating all these freaking people every 5 minutes. My
hell
ghoul,
yeah.
my ghoul
Uh,
knocked up 3 people at once, and I was like, yes. And
Does
that
that
was
make half ghouls?
no, there. No,
uh,
funny enough, my ugliest baby just came from some random dude. It was an ugly ass baby. He
you
looked
want to
like
have sex like with my cock?
I'm ready to make my cock explode.
So stupid. God damn it.
It like burst
I,
like
I,
a pimple. Ew.
I saw somebody pointing out that they thought that was like wildly inaccurate, that people wouldn't figure that out. I want to point out he was in the Brotherhood, and like
A
being
celibate
raised
society.
being raised by like the weirdest men, generations of the weirdest men in society. It
Yeah.
makes sense why he doesn't understand his dick.
What if Andrew Tate somehow created his own army? That's what the Brotherhood is, okay?
Right? Who gave that man power armor?
Oh God. Andrew Tate says that having sex for pleasure is somehow makes you gay. It's like, all his followers like, "Mm?"
Then I must be really fucking gay.
Listen, when your entire shtick is being anti-stuff, eventually you will expose yourself as being a charlatan.
Yeah.
You got to stand for something, or you'll fall for everything, right?
How's that snake oil selling?
Right.
Anyways, back to this movie.
The anti-Andrew Tate of the world, Porco Rosso. Porco would absolutely dunk on Andrew Tate. Let's be
Oh, yeah.
so fucking for real.
Oh,
He would-
yeah.
It's like, listen, dude, I'm a pig, and I'm still getting like.
Yeah.
It would be so funny.
I'm still getting girls left and right, and I'm
Listen,
a
man,
legit pig.
I'm having no trouble on Tinder, brother.
God. Yeah, it was nice watching this because I was like, as I was watching, I was like, there's so many things that lined up with the book that I was reading. I was like, God damn it, this really is the same fucking thing. Son of a bitch.
It's such a fun idea for
It's a
story,
simple
like,
premise. It's so simple
yeah.
and so basic. Like when he goes to get the new weapons for his plane, and it's like, oh, I literally had a scene like that. It's like he needs new weapons, he needs new ammo. It's like, okay, we got to restock. He's out of cash. So he has to take on shitty jobs that he doesn't want to do. It's like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
like it's the same fucking thing. Mine got very political by the very end. At least that I planned to get to it. I think I got like 9 chapters in. The enthusiasm just kind of dissipated.
Yeah, I feel that. I like to
Right?
write the ends first. Like knowing where I'm gonna arrive will help me a lot for like the journey through.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I know where it ends. I know literally where it ends, and I just write to it. And I just don't have the enthusiasm anymore.
Yeah, you got to do the Neil Gaiman thing and do the shit cut, right? You got to get all the ideas out and then like sift through them after. It doesn't matter if they're good or bad. Just like it's about getting them out first.
Yeah,
I like the Kevin Smith Red State thing. He's like, once he knew where it was going, he's like, nope, got to get high and make sure I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah. I remember reading it was Yahtzee Croshaw, the way in which he would write his books. He would do 1 page a day. So that way, if you finish by the end of each year, you have a 365-page novel.
Fair, yeah.
Fair. But I usually don't have time to write in a day because I work a lot. So
Yeah, a page a day, like it's the consistency. Really, like that's the key that I think
Yeah.
you lock in there. Doing a page a day might turn into, like 5 pages a week if you don't do weekends, right? And then
yeah,
you can kind of make up a couple pages here and there, and yeah, like it's the consistency.
yeah.
I wonder like if that was one of the secrets for Miyazaki as he built this company, just to like to start off on didn't he start off on like an already existing IP and then kind of launched from there.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. A lot like
No,
Howl's Moving.
his first director, like his
Oh.
first feature film wasn't specifically a Ghibli movie. I think it was The Castle of Cagliostro.
Yeah.
And that's like the Lupin series.
Well,
That's like the
I was also just gonna say like Howl's Moving Castle is also like a pre-existing book.
yeah,
That,
exactly.
things like that. So he has some basis for some of his stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if like it was that consistency that got him into a job for Lupin, and that he spun that into the rest of the career.
He started out as an in-between artist on films such as Doggy March, Wolf Boy Ken, Gulliver's Travels, Beyond the Moon. He was mainly like the art, the animation in between the main frames. So he was doing that for a bit. It got him working with Toei Animation. So, and then he just kind of just worked his way up for a good 10 years, and then eventually went off to make his own stuff.
And then he has a personal studio down the street from his actual studio.
Yeah. So the man never really stops.
No, but that's my dream, is to be like
Tinker.
to have a giant ass animation studio and to say, fuck this, I want my own private house.
Yeah.
5-minute walk from my animation studio, and it's like bigger than the animation studio. And he's like, this is my private animation studio. I was like, I want that. That's goals.
Dude, it's funny I brought up Sin City earlier. Robert Rodriguez has the same thing. He has his home studio and then he like shoots on studio lots. That is the dream, isn't it?
Yeah. Although I watched those 2 movies back to back recently, and I really love that first one, despite its problems. But the second one is just such dog shit. Like, why is
I remember
with a higher budget? What happens, man?
I remember really liking the Joseph Gordon-Levitt story.
The one written specifically for the film because it's not part of the comics.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, everything else is part of the comics. Like that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think they shot their load with the first movie, and they said, "Oh, these are the leftovers."
Well, because it wasn't like a story to follow from there. It's like more anthology. So you're on your entire storytelling ability is what it hinges on for the second one to work,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Rough.
Oh well.
So I want to talk about the end of the movie.
Yeah,
There's an
yeah.
implication. Maybe his face changed. Maybe it didn't. What do you guys think? How do you interpret an ambiguous finale like this?
I mean, it's clear enough because Carrie Elwes' character clearly says, "Hey, let me see your face. Something's different." It's like clearly something changed. So it's just what does he look like? It's not really important because no matter what you come up with, it's going to be disappointing.
Yeah,
Better to
it's
leave
just
it to
gonna
the
be a guy.
imagination.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
gonna be a guy.
Also, the quick thing when like Theo is like kind of in and out, like before she falls asleep, she
Yeah,
sees him as a man.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I kind of do think it was a change because it kind of falls into a lot of his other stuff, the transformativeness that he has in a lot of his films. Especially like in Howl's Moving Castle again, like how when Sophie would start to like love herself and love others, she would she would break her own curse and revert back to her younger self,
Yeah. Hmm.
be like the old hag that she felt.
Yeah.
So
Or the parents changing in Spirited Away, where
yeah,
they indulge, they
mm,
may become pigs themselves.
mhm.
Yeah.
right. So like I feel like he did change back, because he did start to finally be like, oh, I do have importance. I'm not just a pig.
Right.
Uh, but again, like you said, it doesn't matter. I'm just like, I don't care if you're a pig, a squid, a human, just go get Gina or I will get Gina.
Yeah, I like the idea that this is a very secretive character compared to other main characters in Miyazaki's films. Like
Yeah.
he's very private. And so I like the idea that we're gifting the character his privacy on his exit and
Hmm.
and saying like, yeah, other characters we would demand to see the change, right? Like we need to see um oh shit, I can't remember his name. The kid from Boy and the Heron. Um,
Robert Pattinson.
I can hear Robert Pattinson saying the name. I just can't hear the name. Mahito, that's it. Mahito. We need to see Mahito change across that story, right? So he has to like divulge aspects of himself. We don't have to see that from Porco Rosso. So I like
Mhm.
the fact that we get to the end and it's like, nope, you don't get to find out. That was for him personally. That was because he's going to spend the rest of his time alone in the cockpit. We're just getting this little look in, and so I like that
Yeah.
we return his privacy because we invade his privacy at the beginning. We drop in on him on a break.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we invade his privacy to start the movie, so we give it back to him at the end to let him be a private person.
Yeah. They never do explain why it is he just wants to stay on his own, even though clearly, God, what's her name? Remind me her name.
Gina.
Gina. Clearly, the two of them are in love, or he loves her and she loves him, but he cannot commit to the relationship for some reason. It's never
I mean,
quite explained why.
think of it this way. Her first husband was like his co-pilot basically
Oh yeah, that's fair.
in the
That's just a
war.
little. That's a little weird. Yeah.
And then she had two other husbands who died in the war. So
She
like
really picks winners.
Might be a curse. Maybe it's best to not indulge.
maybe he's like, fuck, if I marry her, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I'm already cursed in
Damn.
one way. I don't need a second one on top of it.
Damn.
Uh, jeez.
I'll love you from afar, just don't kill me.
God.
Well, any final thoughts? I knew this was going to be a shorter one because it's hard to just say nice things for 45 straight minutes.
Maybe want to go back and keep working on that book because maybe I'll finish it one day. So,
I'd love to see that. Absolutely.
yeah, I planned for it to be like 600 pages, and I got like, got like 9 chapters in. I just kind of was just like, I wrote myself into a corner. Don't know where to go.
Get high and pull to Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
there you
I want to do I used to do the Hemingway thing, which is write drunk, edit sober.
Yeah.
I used to just get a bottle of wine, just like plop it down in front of me, and I just drink straight from the bottle. I wouldn't even get to put a glass out. Just like, nope, it works. It does work.
Perfect.
You get a lot of stuff out. There's a lot of bullshit, unfortunately, comes with it. But
Hey, but the ideas are coming.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, you should get something. So
I've been my switch for writing. I love that we're on two whatevers. This is not the writing show, and yeah, we can't stop talking about writing. I love working with another person. That's my like. It puts the accountability on to be like, well, if that person's doing their pages, I'm gonna look like an asshole if I don't do my pages. So like
yeah,
it allows for that, and then it gives you the other person to bounce an idea off of, and have them be like, it's not working for me, and then you get to go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, what is it that I like and why isn't it working? And that will, for me, that usually divines the issue.
hmm
But hell
well,
yeah.
whenever I get a break, I'll go back to it.
Hell yeah.
Damn
Exactly.
right.
Hope, any final thoughts on Porco Rosso?
I love it. It's good. I just go watch it, guys. Just
Yeah.
go watch it. I personally have it on DVD.
Mm.
But it's also on Max. Both
Yeah.
versions, dub and
Isn't
sub.
all the Ghibli stuff on Max
Every
now?
single one. That's right.
Every
All
single
the way
one.
back to his early stuff.
Except
Yeah.
Boy and Herring, but yes.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's supposed to be on. I think they said it's coming in end of this month. I think end of May.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's on its airplane run right now because it was on the airplane when I went to San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Do we want a sequel to this? Because there was plans for a sequel, it never happened. Do we? Do you? Anybody?
I'm
Do you
glad
need
it
one?
didn't happen.
Okay.
I'm of the firm encampment that sequelizing would be the first sign of the fall of the studio.
Yeah.
Here's how you can get around it. Not a sequel, but the character shows up in another thing.
Straight up. Oh, a cameo? Yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Well,
Oh,
See him in the
yeah.
background. That makes it part of that universe. It's not a sequel, but he's still out there doing his thing.
There's a sequel, as Seth mentioned, with Whisper of the Heart, and it's Whisper of the Heart and Cat Returns. They're parallel to each other. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I mean sequel in like Porco Rosso 2. You know what I mean?
oh no,
Like,
no, that's what
or
I'm saying. I agree with
Returns.
you, but like I'm
Yeah.
saying, but like a cameo-esque. The cameo-esque was the Whisper of the Heart and Cat Returns, but
Yeah.
like Jesse said, I would go with that, but not an actual like 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Kind of like people say that all of Tarantino's movies all technically take place in the same universe because there's
Yeah.
little things that connect together. It's like Django
Yeah.
is in the same universe as Inglourious Basterds, which is in the same universe as Jackie Brown and Pulp Fiction. And it all
Did-
leads up.
Did you know the bludgeoning's in that universe?
What?
We put up ads for Red Apple cigarettes in the convenience store while we were shooting.
Dude, it was all night shoots. I don't fucking remember.
Yeah. I said us in the Quentin Tarantino universe. Ka-chow.
He doesn't have any social media, so you can't get that to him. So, unfortunately.
It doesn't matter, man. It's the,
Okay.
it's the bragging rights. I put Dysart's comic in it too.
That's
I
fair.
love,
That's
I
fair.
love slipping little secrets into shooting like that.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
remember you putting Dice Heart's comic, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, look at
I was
that!"
Hell yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Two Whatever's Way Up. First of all, how have you not watched this movie already? Correct that.
I was
Second of
stupid
all,
to not watch this earlier on.
what else have you not seen? We should just put those on Two Whatevers to make sure
I was
it
about to
happens.
say, let's just intervention, Jesse.
Totoro is one that people keep getting on me to watch, and I haven't seen it.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's when everyone keep. Yeah. Hope's face just went like, ah.
Jesse, watch it now.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, we're adding Totoro for sure.
Oh,
That's
fuck. Okay. All right.
that's absolutely.
Are we gonna have like a month of Miyazaki later on this year or something like that?
That wouldn't be a bad micro podcast for us, honestly.
yeah.
A short run. That
Mhm.
because he's only got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 movies. That's not bad. 5 a month.
And most of them are like only 90 minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad. I can do that. Yeah. Okay, fine. We'll do that later on in the winter. Once
Hell yeah.
my schedule is no longer kicking me in the dick.
But it'll be the relaxing snowbird of Miyazaki.
Yes.
Right. Hell yeah, that sounds fun. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. If you haven't already, give us a subscribe down below. You can leave a like on the video. We invite your comments too. We'd love to talk to you about your love of Miyazaki movies if that's what you're here for. And with that, good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.